So let's jump right in. If I asked you to name the single most destructive force that could hit your home, what would you say? You're probably thinking fire, right? Or maybe a big storm. And yeah, those are terrifying, but there's something else, something much more common and a whole lot sneakier.
Turns out, it's water. Yeah, just plain old water. See, it doesn't set off alarms or rattle the windows. It just creeps in, silently, hiding inside your walls, seeping under your floors, working its way through the very bones of your house before you even know it's there.
And that's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. We're talking all about understanding water damage, how it goes from a sudden crisis to something you can actually get back under control.
So let's start with the problem itself. Water seems so harmless, But once it gets inside your house, it becomes this invasive threat that messes with everything it touches, often in ways you can't even see.
Now, what's wild about this list is just how, normal all of it is. We aren't talking about some crazy, once-in-a-century event here. We're talking about a water heater that finally gives out, a washing machine hose that cracks, or pipes that freeze and burst in the winter. Heck, it can be something as simple as forgetting to clean your gutters. These are everyday risks for literally any homeowner.
And this quote from our source material, wow, it just nails it. This is a race against the clock. Water does not hang around waiting. It immediately soaks into drywall, starts warping your beautiful hardwood floors, and can even compromise the foundation of your entire house. Every single hour you wait, the problem gets exponentially worse.
Which brings us right to our next point, the agitation. It's not just about the water. It's about how time, and even where you live, can escalate a tiny leak into an absolute catastrophe.
This is fascinating because it shows how much your local environment matters. Take the Milwaukie, Oregon area, for example. The soil there is super heavy with clay, so it doesn't drain well. That creates this constant pressure that can actually force water right through a home's foundation. You add in nearby rivers that can flood, plus a lot of older homes with aging pipes, and boom, you've got a perfect storm for water damage. And this isn't just an Oregon thing. Every single community has its own unique set of risks.
And here it is. This is the timeline that should really get your attention. In the first 24 hours, everything is just getting soaked. Drywall swells up, floors start to cup and warp. But the real ticking clock is that 48-hour mark. After just 2 days, mold can start to grow. And once that happens, you're not just dealing with a water problem anymore. You've got a potential health hazard and the beginnings of serious structural rut.
Okay, I know that sounds pretty grim. But here's the good news, there is a solution. And the key isn't to panic. It's to have a methodical, scientific response. And it all starts with moving fast.
60 minutes. That's the number. That's what can make all the difference. It's the industry standard for an emergency response time. When you call a professional restoration company, their goal is to be at your front door, ready to go, within 1 hour. That kind of speed is exactly how you beat that 48-hour mold deadline we were just talking about.
And listen, a professional response isn't about bringing in a shop vac and a couple of house fans. No way. It's a precise, 3-phase process. First, they assess everything, using cool tech like thermal cameras to literally see moisture hiding in your walls. And then they extract all the standing water. Next comes the heavy lifting, structural drying with massive industrial-grade equipment, and they monitor the moisture levels every single day. And finally, they restore and rebuild, making sure your home is safe, sound, and back to the way it was. So who makes up all these rules and standards? Well, it's this organization, the IICRC. Think of them as the global authority for the entire restoration industry. If a technician is IICRC certified, it means they've been professionally trained in the actual science behind drying and restoring a property correctly.
So why do we keep bringing up that certification? What's the big deal? Well, that brings us to our final, and maybe most important section, the huge difference between trying to clean it up yourself versus calling it a pro who actually knows what they're doing.
I mean, just look at this comparison. A DIY attempt, let's be honest, it's mostly guesswork. You grab a shop vac, you point some fans at the wet spot, and you just cross your fingers. A certified pro comes in with moisture meters and thermal cameras to find exactly where the water is hiding. They use commercial air movers and dehumidifiers that are way more powerful than anything you can buy at a store. They don't just hope mold doesn't grow, they use a scientific process to prevent it. And, this is a big one, they know exactly how to document everything for your insurance company.
And here's something that most people never even think about. Not all water is the same. Professionals are trained to know the difference. There's Category 1, which is clean water from a supply pipe.
Then you have Category 2, or gray water, which might be from a dishwasher and has some contaminants. And then there's Category 3, black water. We're talking sewage, floodwater, seriously hazardous stuff. Each one of those requires a totally different safety approach.
So really, the whole point comes down to this. Proper restoration isn't just about drying the wet patch on your carpet that you can see. It's about scientifically finding and removing all the hidden moisture that's trapped inside your walls, under your floors, in the structure of your home. That's the moisture that causes the real long-term damage.
So let's end with this one final thought. Imagine it happens right now. You hear a bang and water is pouring into a room. In that first moment of panic, do you know exactly what to do in the next 10 minutes to protect your home and your family? It's definitely something worth thinking about.